Hey, what's up, YouTube? Redbird here, back with another New World video. Today we're going to talk about Invigorating Punishment, or Invigorated Punishment, rather. The new ring perk that's available in New World from the PvP track. What is it, and why it's being considered the best damage buff, or the best in slot damage buff on your rings. First and foremost, let's just look at what is Invigorated Punishment. Now, Invigorated Punishment reads, will deal 3% bonus damage per buff on a target. And of course, this is in PvP only, like most of the other PvP perks. This is so strong because the base of 3% basically touches, or pretty close to touches, the ring perks such as Void Damge, Fire Damge, etc. These perks, I think, typically scale up when you get to a 625 at around 4.9% increased damage. So you can see where, the Invigorated Punishment already starting at 3 per 1 buff. And you ask, how hard is that to get at least 1 buff on your opponent? It turns out, especially in this meta, with Shirking Fortification, and then the new perk Shirking Empowerment, and then all the different ways to get Fortify and Empower on your character throughout the mastery trees, throughout abilities, is pretty easy. So let's look at this list of buffs right here. You can find this list and this entire article over at newworldfams.com. It's just about the status effects of New World. So currently for buffs in New World, so Cleanse, it removes and provides immunity for all debuffs. Now, Cleanse is unique because it is a very brief window of immunity. You typically wouldn't find this like on long periods or multiple stacks on an opponent like you would with Empower or Fortify. So here are the two big ones like we spoke of earlier. Empowerment is increased attack damage that can stack up to 50%. And then Fortify, increased damage absorption that stacks up to 50%. These are the two most common. Most of the time in PvP, your opponent is at least going to have one of these, if not both. Haste, another common one, but not as common as those two. People don't typically seek out Haste in their builds, but some abilities, especially support abilities, that comes baked in. So Haste just kind of happens to be on you certain periods of time. For instance, like Ice Shower. If you run through Ice Shower, you get a little bit of haste buff stacked on you. So that might be, a lot of your opponents, especially in Arena, when the opposing team kind of runs through their own Ice Showers and stuff, they might have haste. There's always, which kind of has fallen out of the meta recently, Light's Embrace, or Accelerating Light's Embrace, also stacks haste, etc., etc. There are multiple ways to get haste in the game. And then the final one is Heal, which restores health over time. Now, abilities that give you heal are things like Orb of Protection. You'll see this little buff down here. It'll say gain health every second. That's heal. That is considered a buff. Now, aside from these generic buffs, you can also get weapon perk specific buffs. The best example is Revitalizing Beacon. Revitalizing Beacon gives you a unique buff that increases your self-healing power for 12 seconds. Now, you start to look at these buffs available in New World, and the numbers start to pile up. And so it's more important, I guess, to consider what Invigorating Punishment's cap is, and that is 8 buffs. Now, 3 times 8, easy math, 24%. And you start to look at 24% increased damage, especially compared to Void Damge, Fire Damge, things like that. And this perk well outshines those. You only really need your opponent to have 2 buffs on them to make this perk better. And it's going to be pretty easy to get there, because you start to look at Empowerment, Fortify, Haste, and Heal. Those are pretty common buffs that are available. So basically, what we're looking at is we're putting this up against, again, the damage perks such as Fire and Void, and we're also putting up against Keen Awareness. Now, Keen Awareness is a unique one because this is case-to-case basis, basically. And that just depends on how much critical chance you have and then what your critical damage modifier is. Now, as you can see here, the base ones for each of the weapons. Again, you can find this article over at newworldfans.com. It's just crit modifiers. If these are both under the quick reference tab over there. So basically, you can take a look at this and see that, you know, most crit chance, base crit chance percent is very low on these weapons. That's the only source that you can get it, unless it's through a mastery tree or, of course, through Keen Awareness, which is the ring perk that we're talking about, and then Keen on your weapons. That is another perk that you can get that to increase your chance. Now we look at those and what's available on them, and you start to see that basically 625 weapon grants around 12% critical chance. And that goes with the ring too. A 625 ring will get you 12% critical chance as well. So then you look over here and you start to add these, even the highest one, which is rapier at 5%, or spear, of course, at 5%. And you're still only around 29% crit chance with a modifier. And these two weapons have 1.4 and 1.3. Now you can increase that modifier with perks like Vicious. There are a lot of perks within your mastery trees that will increase crit damage as well. But I think best case scenario, you're looking at around, you know, and again, best case, you're looking at around 30% crit chance, 33 if you're lucky. So 1 in 3 hits with crit. Now there are ways to change that as well, obviously with backstabs and headshots, etc. But we're just talking general increases in damage. So you're talking about 33%. I think a pretty safe number there. And then the multiplier, I would say you could probably get up to a 1.5% damage modifier. Now the problem with Keen or critting and comparing Keen Awareness to this new perk, Invigorating Punishment, is that a lot of people use Resilient. It's a PvP perk specifically because it reduces the amount of crit damage you take. Now, if people are stacking Resilient, at least 2 or 3, it does start to greatly decrease the amount of damage you're benefiting from through critical strikes. So again, you have to factor that in. You know, we're not doing this in a vacuum. I think most people in PvP run some Resilient. And the case would be that if they're not running Resilient, they're probably running Shirking Fortification, which then, again, gives a little star on the side of Invigorated Punishment, because that actually can increase the amount of damage you do to those people running Shirking Fortification instead of Resilient. So, again, these are all a lot of information, I realize, but you know, overall, I think it's easy to see why Invigorated Punishment is now considered like that best damage perk that you can get on your ring. And people are finding it, obviously, in the PvP track, on the PvP ring, the PvP rewards. So keep an eye out for Invigorated Punishment. If you can find a ring with that, you know, hardy, and you're starting to look pretty dang good. There's actually a name one. Keep an eye out for that, the Champions Ring. Keep an eye out for Invigorated Punishment, because this is what you're going to be looking for on your PvP jewelry, because it is now, again, considered to be the best damage perk available. So thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. Hopefully this is helpful to you when you're out there looking through your PvP track for rewards, what to take, what to leave. If you see a ring with Invigorated Punishment on it and another decent perk, it's probably worth picking up. Again, guys, thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next video.